Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. If you're in a role where you are responsible for others, let's say you own a business, you are a manager, let's say you're a leader of a team, how do you bring out the best in the people that you're working with? Identifying what their strengths are, elevating them, providing feedback. We're going to talk about that and so much more today. And this is what he does in terms of accountability, growth, motivation, offering lessons in resilience, and ultimately getting results. He's a leadership coach, the best you're going to find. Reggie Bullock is back on the
Hey,
program with
Steve.
us.
How
How
you
are
doing,
you?
Steve? I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you back here. And I think many of us struggle with this, identifying how to get the most out of somebody. And it works two ways. They feel good because they're using their talents and skills to the best that they can. And you're doing it for your company or your organization. Before we even begin, we talked about something before we jumped on here. And I'm still intrigued. I'm still trying to put it together and process it. Somebody in a leadership position versus a leader. To me, they sound very similar, but they're not. Can you explain?
Sure, they are similar, and sometimes they can be the same person, but unfortunately, in many cases, they're not. I often say just because you're in a leadership position doesn't mean that you're a leader. And when I'm talking with some senior leaders and I'm speaking truth to power, sometimes I may even say 80% of the people out there in leadership positions are not leaders. And the reason why I say that is
Hmm.
many people apply for a job, get a job, and it's a title. They're executive director, they're president, they're CEO, they're, you know, VP and the C-suites and partner. Those are titles. That doesn't mean that they actually know how to lead. It
Hmm.
doesn't mean that that they have a strong level of emotional intelligence or awareness.
Sure.
In many cases, people in those positions are more focused on themselves and the money or the accolades than they are the people that they are meant to be leading.
And the ego.
And the ego, exactly. There are a lot of people in leadership positions to stroke their ego, right? To make
Yeah.
themselves feel good. But at the end of the day, if you look at what did they actually do in the spirit of leadership, a lot of times it's nothing. In many
Hmm.
cases, they may have actually hurt people instead of help people. They
Yep.
may actually have damaged the culture and the reputation of the organization as opposed to strengthening it. They say that people, when they quit a job, often they don't quit a job because of the job, they quit it because of the people that they work for. So people have a tendency to vote with their feet. So if you have people that are
Hmm.
constantly leaving a company, you can take a look at a company and say, all right, what's the total amount of people at this company in a given year? And what's the percentage of the people who left in a given year? And often it's because people were in leadership positions weren't even qualified to be leaders. And so when recruiters and hiring authorities hire people, they often do it for the position because they themselves are not necessarily leaders. So you know how they say it takes one to know one. And so to that end, it's hard for them unless they do a real leadership assessment to even understand the type of leader they're getting. They're just filling the slot. And so when you have a person in a leadership position, all of those leadership requirements and attributes and the good stuff that you're looking to see happen don't often happen because they just don't know what they're doing. Now, I'm not going to
Hmm.
slam them and just, say it in a negative way that those people are bad because many times it's because they've not been trained,
Yep.
don't have a leadership coach like me, or their experiences just not have not given them enough time to develop the skill sets they need to actually be a leader. And they're not even students of leadership. But they want the position, they want the money, they want the title, and they do it. So it goes hand in hand with them going for a position that they're not really leaders, and then the people who are hiring them. And so I would say that's a higher number than most people even realize.
It's almost as if many people in those situations got elevated because it seemed reasonable that they could lead a team, but doesn't mean they have skills. And when I look at the title, leadership position almost leads me to believe that they're qualified, whereby they're in a position of leadership versus
Yeah,
a leader, position of leadership. I could be in the position of the front seat of a car. No, I don't know how to drive.
right.
I'm in position,
Good
you
point.
know?
Good point. Yeah. So often you have people who, to your point, elevate into a position. I was in the Air Force for 30 years and
Mm,
retired as a commander. I had hundreds of people working for me on the flight line, maintainers, things like that.
sure.
And some of them were some of the best technicians, wrench turners, specialists, engine that you could ever want. But then you promote them into a leadership position. You actually promote them out of their sweet spot into an element that they either don't know much about, and some of them don't even care about it. They just want to turn wrenches.
Mm.
Reg, I don't want to be a senior master sergeant. Just leave me where I'm at, right? And so people get promoted into those positions, nepotism, timing, call it whatever you want, but are they really qualified? And that's why I make the distinction that just because you're in a leadership position doesn't mean that you're a leader. And leaders, right? I often say people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So leaders care. Leaders care about their people, they care about the organization, and they care about helping others. And often you can see it right off the back whether a person cares or not.
Mm.
And so to that end, what is the leader doing for the team? How are they serving the people that they're leading? How are they even serving the organization? All right. And so where's their mindset? And when you look at lead, like you said, the person sitting in the front of the car, you lead from the front. So that means somebody's following you. That means they need to want to follow you. They need to have the confidence that you're going to lead them in the right direction. And if you're just in a leadership position, unfortunately, most of those types of people, they don't realize that the people that are supposed to be following them already know that they're not leaders, which is why they're not following.
Is it also a true leader knows when to lead, but also knows when to follow?
Yeah, we call that exemplary followership, right?
Hmm.
And so, as a leader myself, I often am around type A personalities, other leaders, smart people who know what they're doing, and I yield. As a matter of fact, I yield 100% to their leadership because I respect them and respect their leadership capability. And then I become that ultimate supporter, that follower, because I know what it's like to be in that position. I know what it's like, they say heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? I know what it's like to have that weight on your shoulders.
Hmm.
So now I take it as my responsibility as an exemplary follower to not make their job so hard because of me. If anything, I'm going to support them and do everything I can, but they're the leader. Yeah.
I want to talk about the best ways to get the most out of your team. But before we even go there, how does one know they've got what it takes to be a leader? It's probably not everybody. How does one go within themselves? Let's say they're plugged into themselves to identify, yeah, I got what it takes.
Yeah. So first off, it's experience, it's time. You don't just have it automatically. You're not born with it and you wake up and you say, I have it what it takes. No, leaders are good at what they do because they've made a lot of mistakes.
Mm.
They've screwed it up. They've learned from it. They messed up again. They learned from it. They've caused challenges and issues. They've learned from it. So now they have experience. And so to that end, how does a leader know that they're a leader? How does a leader look themselves in the mirror and say, yes, I'm it? A lot of that just comes from serving the people and seeing the outcome. And it's not so much of focusing on being a leader as it is just doing the job, doing what's in front of you, achieving the objectives. And so to that end, you know, awesome leaders don't even care about that part. They're more focused on helping other people. They're more focused on the goals, the objective, the mission, achieving things than they are on
Mm.
themselves. And so that level of emotional intelligence and self-awareness doesn't come without experience. And so to that end, and then also other leaders, right, will validate you. People will say to you that you are a good leader. People will say to you, I appreciate your leadership or your leadership style. People will talk about the leader before you and then tell you how they see you. So when you solicit that type of feedback, you'll get answers. But people in leadership positions that are not really leaders, they have a tendency to stay away from getting truthful and honest feedback.
Hmm.
And so there are so many ways for you to know whether you're a leader or not. But I would say the main way is to get out there, make your mistakes, and learn from them and get those experiences. So now those experiences turn into wisdom. And then it's solid. You know that you know. But the other thing about being a leader is leaders can train and develop and grow other leaders. So when you look in the mirror and say, yes, I'm a leader, I've arrived, I've achieved it. Really, you may be a novice at this, but the measure of how strong and powerful and great a leader you are is how many other leaders you're
Hmm.
able to groom and develop and grow. That becomes the feedback. When you're able to look and say, wow, those 20 people are awesome leaders, and I helped them to become that. So now you get to see the results of your actions as a leader because it takes one to know one.
But Reggie, the plaque on my door says that I'm a leader. Um, in in a sentence or two, what is a leader?
In a sentence or two, a leader is someone who has the ability to look inside of another human being and bring out whatever it is that you can bring out of them by inspiring them, by motivating them, by getting them to do the things they wouldn't normally do if it wasn't for you. So
Perfect, perfect segue into where we're going today, and that is how to get the most out of the people that you work with and or lead. Are there a couple of formulas, tricks of the trade, a few things that stand out?
yeah and no, because it starts with the person, right? Not everybody is good clay to work with. And therefore, you're not going to be able to mold them because they just don't want to be molded, right?
Hmm.
There are all types of people. So, as a leader, when you're bringing the best out of somebody, you got to see it inside of them. And sometimes, in many cases, you see inside of them something they don't see inside of themselves. I got to where I'm at and I'm successful in different areas because of someone else, not because of me, because they saw something in me, pushed me, motivated me, inspired me, and kicked my butt, right? And helped me to achieve something I didn't even know I could achieve. So when you're bringing the best out of someone, you're putting time and energy into them. It's almost like mentoring, apprenticeship, coaching, training. You're doing it all. You're trying to bring the best out of them. And I use the term coach. I'm a coach, but that's just one term. And at the end, you need to see inside of that person's heart and soul, who they are, what are they made of. And that means you got to get to know them. You got to spend time with them. You got to learn who they are, what makes them tick. And then you have to know what buttons to press and what not to press and when. All right. And
Hmm.
so, but that best piece, what is it that you honestly believe that they can do? What is it that you want them to achieve that's beyond their normal goals and objectives? How do you stretch them? Give them a stretch goal. And then how do you support them during that process, right? Just because you see that you can help them become the best version of themselves and you want to get the best out of them and you want to stretch them. And you can't do it just by telling them. Because if they knew by telling, they would have been able to do it. So you got to help them. You got to support them. You may have to get other people to help and support them, but it's for their purpose. That's the other piece. You're not doing it because when you achieve that goal or objective with that person, it makes you look good. You may feel good, self-satisfaction, but you're doing it for that person in many cases because somebody did it for you.
Mm.
And so to that end, bringing out the best in someone requires you to understand who they are, believe in them. In some cultures we may say love them, right? And so when you do that and you feel that compassion to help that person, oh yeah, it's a sweet spot that now, that person's the star, whatever. Now, you can also do it for a team in an organization. I've done it. I've done it for an organization where I brought the best out of an entire organization and we achieved an outstanding on our operational readiness inspection, right? That allows us to go to war and do what we say we can do. And I'm confident that all of my airmen are able to execute at the highest level of the standards without me being there because we brought the best out of them. And that's who they are now. And see, that's the other piece. When you're bringing the best out of others, a lot of stuff is coming out of them that's not the best, but is good. And then eventually it becomes better. And then eventually it becomes the best. And when they taste that and they feel that, they don't go backwards.
Mm.
They stay there. They stay there. And often they may help others too. Now it becomes that self-licking ice cream cone where, it's just helping everyone else to become the best. So that's leadership. I love it. And it's also a leadership challenge. When you go into an organization that's broken and you have to fix it, or the people just culturally are dejected, they don't care, or they're just hanging out to collect the paycheck and not earn it. Those are mental elements that you have to get past. And so there's a whole lot of work that's involved in bringing the best out of a person other than just pontificating or reading some cool stuff out of a book or giving them a nice phrase to take home and hang up on their wall. No, it's a lot more than that. You got to dig deep into a person's soul, figure out who they are, and then help them to see themselves because they may not see themselves the way you see them. And that becomes a motivator. When they see themselves the way you see them, especially if you see them and you get excited, then they start to get excited. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel, and I'm still processing what you said a little while ago, that successful people usually, and I want to say usually, because it sounded like you said that, but I want to get a read on it, had somebody that believed in them to get them to that point. It does.
Yeah.
You just don't walk into a room say, "Hey, wow, hey, I'm famous all of a sudden. You know, we're making millions. This is great." I just walked in. I got lucky. Whatever it might be, even if it's luck. Do you feel that there's always somebody that ultimately was responsible for believing in them?
I do. And I say sometimes it's a lot of somebodies.
Yeah.
In my case, it's not one or two people. It may be 10 or 15 over a course of the years, right? And so
Mm.
to that end, yes, you don't know everything. You can't know everything. It's just impossible. I mean, you can't read every single book on the planet. You have not made enough mistakes. So you need a navigator. And in many cases you need a navigator. If you have not walked a particular journey before, and it's a tumultuous, challenging, hard journey to grow in, you need a navigator. And when someone raises their hand and say, I'm here to help you, lead you, mentor you, coach you, train you, develop you, that's a good thing. And that's what I'm talking about. Most of us don't make it by ourselves because we know everything. No, somebody saw something in us that we didn't see, and they helped to bring the best out of us. And to that, for those people who've had that happen to them, every now and again, thank that person.
Mm.
Research your brain. I used to send my scoutmaster a Christmas card every single year of his life. Yeah. I sent him a
Wow.
Christmas card starting at age 18 or 19. And the more I reflected on how he impacted me every year. In one year, for whatever reason, it didn't make it. And his wife, she called me. She said, "Did you forget to send us a Christmas card?" I said, "Yeah." Sorry
Wow.
about that. And then I sent it to him. But that's the appreciation, right? Because,
Mm.
some people read the book, The Secret, The Laws of Attraction, and things like that, right? And if you believe in that, then do the right thing and thank those people. because if it wasn't for them, you would not be where you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I believe many of us forget where we came from, not always intentionally, but to your point, along the way, as I'm thinking of it, oh, there was that person. They believed in me. Well, they believed in me too. Oh, then there was that one. There's a lot of them. By the way, the scout thing resonates with me. Literally on my phone, I just got the script for Thursday night. I host a awards ceremony every year for the Boy Scouts in our county. And my son, who became an Eagle Scout about a year ago,
Oh,
is also,
congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, he's part of it. He leads the flag ceremony. And we do it and it just worked out that he's home from college this week. So it's just perfect alignment. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of every time he sees the people that were responsible for his scouting journey, big smile comes on his face and he thanks them. And I guarantee he'll be doing that
In his
Thursday.
mind, he will never forget a scout as trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. All of that was taught to him
Yep.
by people bringing the best out of him. Those merit badges, those skill awards, all of those experiences, the
Yep.
canoe, the camper trips, and everything else were, other people seeing something in him, order the arrow that he didn't see in himself, and they brought it out of him.
Yeah.
And now, as he journeys through life, he's got a foundation that other people are probably jealous of.
It's so rewarding to see all these people that don't get paid.
No.
Their goal is to foster a generation and they take it very seriously. And yeah, to your point. I mean, we forget.
That's leadership.
Point.
That's not just being in a leadership position.
Yeah.
That's doing the doing. That's being a leader. Order the arrow, brotherhood and vigil, all of those things that your son is familiar with is training for leadership.
Yeah. Final question here.
Yes.
How do you deliver feedback? Some don't like to use that word, but when you need to speak with somebody that you're leading and you still want it to be a positive experience, but we need to make some adjustments, realizations. What's the best way to do that?
It's hard to say best way because everybody's different. People receive things differently. I've done it and had somebody just start crying on me instantly. And I'm thinking, all right, but I still have to say. So you do have to rip the Band-Aid off, right? You do have to deliver whatever it is because bad news don't get better with time. So to that end, mentally, you got to say what you have to say. Whether they respect you or don't respect you or appreciate it, it's not about just them. It's about the growth. And when you see that, you understand the benefit behind telling them the truth. So I'd say do that and then pause, right? Get the feed, listen to them, see how it resonated. A person that's deep in their feelings may resonate someone else that's just in their head, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're in your heart, you're gonna receive it differently than if it's in your head. And the same thing for the person that's delivering it. There are people who deliver or are in leadership positions that they're more of a feeler on the Myers-Briggs scale than they are on a thinker. And so now they don't want to hurt this person, so they're reluctant to say something. I say, pejoratively speaking, rip the Band-Aid off, but you just got to say it. And you can practice it, you can rehearse it, but you have to do it. There is no way around it. So tricks and tips and techniques and all of those things, just do it. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it because it's called experience. The more you avoid doing it, then you won't have that experience.
Mean what you say what you mean, but don't say it in a mean way.
I like that.
You know what? I heard this.
I like that.
This quote the other day, Sir Isaac Newton, and it goes back to what you said before. What we know is a drop. What we don't know is an ocean. So, many of us walk around thinking, well, I know pretty much everything. No, you don't. No, you don't. There's so much to learn. Yeah. And that's why you're here. I'm learning a lot. Appreciate your insight on all of this. And didn't even know that. Yeah, it's funny how the scouting thing came up and it's this week in my world. Strange.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yep. Thank you. And you too with your journey. I'm sure you learned a lot in your scouting journey.
Yeah, I'm a lifetime Boy Scout. That's what everybody calls me.
Yeah. Well, I'm also a lifetime Girl Scout because the day before, I'll be at I'm on the board of the Girl Scouts, so I'll be at a meeting for them and an annual meeting. So yeah, always love it. Love it. You know, we're in some way we're coaching in those
Yes,
regards.
it's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. How do we connect with you? You have so much insight, so many different programs. You get it. You truly get it. How do we find you?
Well, my website is www.reggiebullock.com. You can Google my name, Reginald Bullock. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And just message me and let's walk this journey of becoming the best version of yourself.
You wrote the book on that, and that's the title.
Yeah.
You can find that on the website too. Reggie, thanks for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. You have a good week. I'll see you next week.
You got it. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.